Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Self-Publishing Mastery Talks. That's where you learn how to master being a self-published author. And today, I have a special guest. I know you hear a lot of stories, success stories about the people in the US, successful self-published authors in the US, but now that Europe has its success stories. And I'm very happy to introduce to you one of these stories. He's a best-selling author. He's an award winner. He's an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and he's going to launch his new book pretty soon. So welcome, Richard. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
So I have it on my Kindle. Thank you. I feel privileged to have had the opportunity to read this wonderful book in advance. So basically, your knowledge of how many years since you've been a self-published successful author?
So I started writing information guides
Mhm.
2005, but I didn't start on Amazon
Wow.
until 2010. So for 5 years, I was sort of writing information and selling them on CD-ROMs and
Yes.
putting information on DVDs, which is a really good learning background for me. And then I thought to myself, I should do it on Amazon. And obviously, taking information and putting it into content, I've never done it before. So I sort of learned from scratch. So my first 3 books went on sale in January 2010. So I've been doing it for 8 years now. And written and self-published over 150 books, got my own publishing company. And it's been a fantastic journey. I've really enjoyed it. Something I recommend, obviously people do. It's a great learning curve.
There are two key elements about this book which I like. So one of them is that there are so many people pretending that they know the secrets of becoming a best-selling authors, and many of them, they are not best-selling authors. So reason number one to get this book, if you are planning to become a self-published author or you are already a self-published author, is that here's a guy who knows what he's doing and who works his talk. And the second one is the way this book is created, is written, because Richard is a great. I know that he said earlier that you said you write how-to books, but you're a great storyteller. So it's a very interesting blend of his personal stories, of his personal journey, or what he's learned throughout his life, and actually hands-on advice on how to become a best-selling author on Amazon, what you need to do, everything about cover, about how to format your book, and even some very good tips and tricks about book marketing, which is also important. So what do you like most about being a self-published author?
A few things. The main one is the freedom that it gives me. So I love, like, before I got into writing books, I was a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for like 17 years. And when I left, people thought I was mad. Like, why would I give up a job on the fire engines to go and write books? But I really wanted the freedom. And the financial side of it is really good, but that's not the reasons why I got into books. But yeah, it's the freedom. I love having the control. And that's the great thing about self-publishing, is that you get to have the control. Of course, you take the risks. And if things go wrong, if you don't get it right, you're not going to sell many copies. But I love that challenge. And like you mentioned earlier on about the entrepreneurial spirit and, taking control of things. So I really like having the control. I love the creative side of it, coming up with a really good book cover design. And also the freedom that I can write content wherever I want. I can go away, I can go on holiday, and I can write content. So I don't need to be tied to an office. So it's a combination of all of those things, really.
Another thing that I loved about your book is that usually people, they even at writers' conferences, they talk mostly about the writing craft and then about book marketing, but very few of them touch the mindset. And your book, by telling your story of how you became a firefighter, that wasn't so easy too. So you have to overcome some obstacles to be able to do that. Actually, taught you how to be successful. So I'd like to talk about the mindset the authors need to get to become best-selling, to be successful.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point. And as you say, it's sort of like overlooked a lot of the time. And when I'm coaching authors and publishers alike, sometimes they will say, "Oh, I've tried this little thing and it didn't work," and they get dejected and down. And I was like, "Well, what are we going to do next?" My mindset has always been, when I joined the Royal Navy and then joined the Fire Service, you have to do things and you've got to get them done within a certain amount of time. And I think that's one of the key elements, being an author and a self-publisher. It's entirely down to you. I strongly believe like success is a choice. Yeah, you're going to come across barriers, you're going to come across problems, but it's about a continuous development program whereby you're learning all the time, and then eventually you come up with things and they work. So when I first started writing and publishing, it was difficult, as your followers and yourself will know. Success doesn't come just like that. You have to keep trying and keep changing. And that's what I did. Learned about book cover design, asked loads of questions to previous authors and publishers, and also the marketing side of it. But my mindset is I can do it and I can achieve it, but I just have to keep trying and trying and trying. And a lot of people give up, or they think, "Oh, it's taken me too long to write a book." It doesn't matter. If you do a little bit each day, even if it's just like 3 pages a day, like after a month, you'll have 100 pages of content. And then once the book is out there, think to yourself, right, I'm going to have a little break, and then I'm going to go and start marketing my book. And I'm going to do it over a long period of time. I'm not just going to do like 1 week of marketing. I'm going to do it, over weeks and months. So then you've got sustained promotion over a long period of time. So yeah, I think the mindset is absolutely critical. And you've got to, you're on your own as an author. So you have to be confident in your own abilities and someone who does what they say they're going to do, and also set a deadline. One thing, just finally, on mindset, when I was writing my content, I would always put in my diary on my phone the days that I was going to write, because a lot of people, and they think, "Oh, I'll do it next week," but they never get round to doing it. But if you were working for somebody or you were running a business and you had a meeting that you had to go to, you'd put it in your phone. So I would say, well, why not put the time you're going to write in your phone? Because it's just as important. And that's all about accountability as well. So yeah, mindset is absolutely pivotal to your success as an author.
And then your lifestyle as an author, because the way we live our life takes its toll on our body, on our spirit, on how we feel, on how good we feel, and that's another thing you're talking about in your book.
Like, we're not going to feel great all the time, but I think if you look after yourself. Like, I can remember when I first started, I used to go for long walks, like really brisk walks. And I loved that because my mind would start thinking about the next chapter and coming up with different book ideas. And when your heart's racing and you're doing a little bit of fitness, you start to feel more enthusiastic, and all those positive feelings start coming to the fore. So I think as authors, we have to manage our lifestyles. And also what we eat and what we drink is really important. I think I make reference at some point in the book about like drinking alcohol. I mean, I love having a beer. I absolutely love going out at weekends and having a drink, and there's a time to relax. But I find that if I like cut out alcohol altogether and I eat healthily, my writing is so much better. And more importantly, my energy levels go through the roof as well. So I can get more done and more creative, and my marketing is better as well. So of course it's a fine balance, because you don't want to be sort of like totally healthy all the time. You have to have a bit of downtime. But I think that's another important aspect, is to look after yourself and have lots of, energy levels, eat right, drink right, and also do a little bit of exercise. You don't have to go to the gym, but you could just be a walker, go out walking, for 20 minutes a day, and you'll see a real shift in your creative output, which is important. Over the years, when I started becoming an author, I started putting on a little bit of weight, and I remember that's because I was sat down. But it doesn't have to be like that. You can do half an hour writing, get up, go and do a 20-minute walk outside. I'm lucky I've got a dog. I've got a Labrador who loves to bits, so I go out walking with the dog all the time, so it forces me to get out. So I think it is important, that side of it, and I think it's a cool part of it, being an entrepreneur and an author, is looking after your health. It's an important aspect of it. You'll certainly get more done. If you're not feeling up to it for writing, then just don't write. I think that's important. I always used to force myself, because I had a full-time job when I started. So, I was working in the fire service, a full-time job, and I was coming home and writing content, and I forced myself to do it. And in those times, you don't always write your best content. So if I was starting again, I would only write when I felt really positive and, I had the energy to do it, which is important.
And one more thing, nowadays, we cannot hide behind our desks. So with social media, we are visible, and the book cover sells the book. The image can help sell the book. So if you put out, if you look nice, if you feel good in your skin, then this is going to, I think, help in your PR and your marketing campaign.
You're hitting on all the right points. I think, you can put yourself out there, and I understand a lot of authors don't want to do the social media side of things, but I think once you start doing it, remember I put myself on YouTube, which was great, and the response that I had was phenomenal. And I use sort of videos like this on the YouTube channel, but then I also use sort of screen capture, where I'm recording over PowerPoint slides. And my channel's had about something like 5 million views or something, and all that's free, and all that's going to my book sales pages on Amazon. I was like, wow, this is great. And once you start to get a little bit of traction and people start liking the stuff you do, that gives you the confidence to do more of it. So yeah, you're right. You've got to try it and put yourself out there. And there's loads of platforms now that you can start promoting yourself on, which is really good.
Which are your favorite platforms, by the way, since we got here?
Definitely Facebook, especially it's really strange, because in the last 12 months on my author Facebook page, it's really started to grow. I've got about 14,000 followers on there now. And what I'm finding is videos are working really well. So Facebook, even though it's been around since 2005, the last year for me as an author and a publisher, it's really started to work much better. And also YouTube, which is not a normal channel that authors would use.
Yes.
But I always create videos, like free training videos based around the chapters of my books. And then I put them up onto YouTube, and I don't sell the book in the video until the end. So I don't even talk about the book, but I give free educational content in the videos. And then at the end, I would say, get a copy of the book if you want to, and then click the link below the video on YouTube, and it will take you through to the Amazon sales page on my website. So definitely Facebook, and certainly YouTube, and Instagram is starting to be a lot more traction on there as well. So, but yeah, Facebook and YouTube, big plus for me.
Okay, so on YouTube, where do we find you? What's the name of the channel?
Okay, the channel it's called Career. It's all one word, Career Vids, VIDZ, and all the videos on Career Vids are based around my How to Become books, like all the career related stuff. Like I say, it's got about 5,000 views on there, about 20 subscribers, but that's all free. That's the great thing. I mean, it's not costing me anything apart from my time. So as an author, I think it's definitely worth using YouTube, because a lot of people use it. I mean, it's the second biggest search engine online. And I always, just one tip for your watchers, if anybody's doing like a non-fiction book, create your videos based on what people would search for. So the title of the video is really important, because Google owns YouTube. So a lot of my videos rank on the first page of Google, and then you get more traffic as well. So yeah, it's called Career Vids, Career and then VIDZ. That's the channel.
I know that YouTube is growing and is going to be one of the main social media channels this year. I'm surprised to hear you saying about Facebook that it's working so well, because I know that everybody's complaining that the organic reach is plummeting, sort of. So what's your secret of making Facebook work? Okay,
yeah, and I think that's the case. And a lot of, if you look at like what Mark Zuckerberg was saying, especially in the last few months, about the amount of adverts that are on there now, and some people are turning away from Facebook and not using it. My opinion on Facebook is you can make it work, but you need to think about lead generation more than selling a book straight from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone comes onto your page, on your Facebook page, what are you giving people? What are you giving them to add value? And one of the things that has been working for me is that I think, right, I'm not going to try and sell my book to start off with. I'm going to try and build a relationship with the reader. So I will give them some kind of free chapter. I might give them a free download. I might even offer them a training course or a competition where they can come and meet me for an hour. So I'm always trying to build up the engagement on Facebook. I mean, with this book here, the one that you're talking about, I put that on Facebook initially, and I sort of offered some free copies just as a bit of a, to get it out there a little bit and get it going. So you can give away like a free download to the first few number of people. And I think that post had something like 900 likes, 100 shares, or something. And that was because I was giving something away for free. Now, when people go to download the book, they have to give me their name and email address, and then straight away I'm building that relationship with the reader. So it's a bit of a different approach than just going on Facebook and, saying, oh, I've got a copy of my book. It's available to buy on Amazon, because not people straight away are probably not going to go on there. What you could do is more videos. So get someone to interview you as an author, to sit down, to ask you questions about your book, the writing process, the characters in there, the unique selling point for the book. So a lot of people understandably go on Facebook and think, right, I've got to sell my book, but try and connect with your readers. You could even give them a free chapter of the book, or you could even give them a free chapter of your next book as a bit of a taster. But make sure that you do all you can to capture their name and email address, generate leads, and then build that relationship with your readers.
Yeah, definitely. You need to offer, to give value, to offer value to people, and then people, they will want more from you, and they will be willing to pay for your products and pay good money, so you won't have to discount your books. You're not a big fan of discounts and lowering your book's price, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can work, and it depends on your genre and what you're writing. And I think with fiction and children's books, it can be different. But what I tend to find is that Amazon, they drop the price anyway. And if a book starts to sell well, they will drop the price. And obviously, for authors, as authors and self-publishers, there's such a low profit in each unit that you sell that you have to think about your bottom line. So I always think, well, my content's worth this much. This is what I'm prepared to sell it for. And I will let Amazon do its work, and they can drop the price if they want to, which they do more often than not. And I also see, like, if somebody comes in and competes with me on a particular book or a range of books, the first thing they do is drop the price. Mm-hmm. So from my perspective, I think that there's the thing which is perceived value. If my content's good, then I want to reflect that in the price. Now, don't get me wrong, I won't overcharge.
Yeah.
And if we go and compete with someone, we tend to drop the price a little bit ourselves. But if my content's good, then I want to charge for it, really, because you've done all that work as an author.
Yes.
And I want to get paid for it. Yes. So I think perceived value is important.
Yes, it is. And that's why I asked this question, because many self-published authors, they have the tendency to lower the prices just because they are self-published, and because they believe, or rumor has it, that the audience is used to lower prices when it comes to self-published authors, but it's not necessarily so. And non-fiction books, like your books, they can be usually priced higher than fiction books in a certain genre, like romance or thriller and mystery. In your book, you say that for someone who wants to start writing and become a self-published author, all these people need is a laptop and the desire to succeed. But that's just the beginning, because self-publishing is a business. If you don't see it as a business, then you're going to sell 1 or 2 copies, and that's it. So it depends on your objectives. And I'd like to talk more about a little bit about this aspect, and what people need to understand to make it work as a business.
Everybody's different. So some people who come on my training courses will go, I just want to get one book out. I want to get it finished and that's it. I'm not really bothered about selling many copies. but you will get a large percentage of people who obviously want to make money from it.
Yes.
Some people want to publish other people's
Mhm.
books, and they want to do a lot. So I think having your goals set from the beginning of what you want to achieve will certainly help you. So if you want to do this seriously and you want to do it for long term, which is what I wanted to do, I wanted it to replace my job, then I had to think carefully about how much is this going to cost me? Am I prepared to make mistakes, which I was prepared to? How much money do I have to get started? I didn't have a huge amount of money. But I learned that there were a number of elements that were really important. Now, I don't always get it right, but my intention is to get it right from the start. So, really good content starting out. And what I liked about, I felt as an author, I had a bit of a safety net that I could write my content. And until it went out there and was available on Amazon, it didn't really matter because it was just me. And that gave me the sort of like the safety net to think that I can work on it and get it as best as it can. Because a lot of authors, when they start off, I feel they rush to get it out there and push it out. Oh, don't worry about the cover too much. And then it all comes crashing in because people will leave bad reviews. So I think your intentions from the start of what you want to do, and I'm not saying create like a business plan, but just have an end goal of what you want to do and do it properly. Like, don't focus on how much money is my book going to make. Focus on really good content, trying to connect with your readers at the start of the book. Like even at the introduction, you can say, connect with me on Facebook. Here's a link to my Facebook page. Tell me what you think about the content. I'd love to hear from you and I'll respond back. Great cover design, really good typesetting, good Kindle conversion, and then a marketing strategy. So it's putting everything in place from the beginning, what you want to achieve, and then doing each stage properly. And as you say, there's a lot to learn. So learning it all properly and absorbing the world of self-publishing.
Since you mentioned learning, so obviously you need to be able to write a great book. I know great sounds general, but a book that's like a good book that people will love. But then again, what other skills does a self-published author, needs to learn to become a best-selling author?
I think one of the surprising ones that I learned, apart from a little bit of like internet marketing, which doesn't take that long to learn, but so like at the very start of my book, like I would have a page that would say, go to a website where you can get something that's of value that's assisted with the book. Now, not many authors do this, and not many publishers do this either. So what I'm trying to do, because on Amazon, you don't get their details, I'm trying to encourage people to go away from the book to get some kind of downloadable thing that I don't have to send to them. So it's free for me to create. So the internet marketing was a skill that I wanted to learn. And my database is about 100,000 strong now of like previous customers. About 65% of my sales come from my website. So I'm very focused on internet marketing. The second thing, which will be surprising to a lot of people, is outsourcing and like being a bit of a project manager. So managing like the book cover design, not doing it yourself. I know there are lots of tools out there where you can design your own book cover design, even on Amazon, but I think it's a mistake. I think, using outsourcing websites, I use Upwork.com. That's the main website I use to find really good outsourcers. Like Kindle conversion, the temptation is to use a Kindle conversion tool, and some of them are okay, but I always outsource it. I get a professional to do it. So I would say internet marketing and also project management with outsourcers. It doesn't take long to find really good outsourcers like typesetters and Kindle converters. So yeah, those are the two different things which are a little bit off the wall that you wouldn't expect an author and a self-publisher to learn. But I think I'm pretty good at those, and always encourage authors who are getting into publishing to consider them, important aspects of the publishing world. It's funny because when I started writing and publishing books, there was a little bit in me. So even though I had that entrepreneurial flair from when I was a bit younger, I'd worked for somebody for a long time. And I can remember thinking, I was in my 30s at the time and thinking, am I too old to start a business or to learn all of this? And of course, the answer is no. I mean, you can start at 60, 70, 80. You can start at those ages. And what I like about nowadays is there's so much free information out there to help you. Like when I started doing my CDs and writing content before I got onto Amazon, YouTube had literally, I think it had only just launched, so nobody knew about it. Facebook wasn't even out at the time. Now on YouTube, there's so many videos to teach you how to do all of these things. There's so many different like online courses. If you wanted to learn about Google AdWords or entrepreneurial mindset, there's like Udemy.com where you can go on and get all like £12 courses. So I even though I can understand it can be difficult. I think it's easier now. And I would say to people, age is no barrier. I think the older you are in some aspects, the better it is because of all that experience that you've got, and all of that wealth of expertise that you can share with people in your books, and you've got all that experience of working for somebody, so you'll have lots of assets there and information that you can share and tap into. So I would say the only person who's stopping you from doing it is you. You've got all the time in the world to get out there and learn all these different things, and just persevere and keep chipping away with it. And if I was starting now, let's say I'd not done what I'd done, I would go for it now. I would do it. I'm 46 now, going on 47, but it wouldn't stop me from doing it now. I know I could start again from scratch if I had to and learn it all and do it. So just go for it.
Some people say that this is the best time to be an author. What do you think?
Yes,
about it?
For lots of reasons. The first reason is there's more people in the world than there ever has been, and the population is only going to grow. If you look at the trends with regards to printed books, a lot of people a few years ago, when the Kindle first came in 2007, a lot of people in the publishing industry said that printed books would go, and that's not been the case. They're growing. There's more and more printed books coming out. But more importantly, if you look what Amazon are doing as well, I mean, obviously Amazon dominates the publishing world, and some people don't like Amazon. I like them. I think they're our friend to a certain degree because everybody shops there. So why would we write and publish our books on Amazon? But if you look at the amount of money that Amazon invests in its infrastructure, the delivery kind of things that they're doing, I mean, drone delivery, Amazon bookstores, it's a great opportunity now, especially with the delivery of books, how quick they can get to customers. Then I think it's a fantastic time. And like next year will be an even better time. I would get on board and do it now. I really would do, because Amazon's changing the way that we shop and the way that we deliver goods. And the great thing about books is they're quite small and light, and they will always be at the forefront of the Amazon delivery process. So I think it's the best time now to get started.
I know that you're an advocate of the paperback, so of the physical book, the physical copy. Why is that? And what's the percentage in your case? So you're writing nonfiction, how-to books. So
I don't know the exact figure, but I know it's over 75% of my sales are physical printed books. It's really high. I think it's important to have both formats, because Kindle isn't that expensive to get published. But I think as an author and a self-publisher, it's really important to do both formats. If you're a fiction author, then you might decide just to do Kindle, because most people will probably buy it on Kindle. But for non-fiction and children's books, then definitely you need to do paperback. What do I love about them? I just love the fact that they're always there. They're physical. I think when you get something through your door, through your letterbox that's physical, there's that feeling that you get attached with it. You can write in it. You can pass it around. And I've heard a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I got your book from a friend." So they didn't buy it, but the book got passed around. And again, if you put in your book, if you're trying to connect with your readers by getting them away from the book and getting them to like Facebook or a website where you can get their name and email address, and that can only be a positive thing. But I just think from a traditional aspect, books are beautiful things. They really are. They're lovely. You can touch and feel it, and they smell great. It just feels like you're getting more for your money. There's definitely a place for Kindle and electronic books, and there always will be. But I also think there's a bit of a change coming. I think we're in the midst of that at the moment. We all spend so much time on these. I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of screen fatigue because I'm looking at my screen all the time, and I'm, surfing the internet and on Facebook and all that kind of thing. So it's a bit of a welcome relief to actually go to a book. So yeah, I love physical books. Of course, from a profit perspective, I'd rather not have to pay for the print costs. But I think from a business perspective, with regards to marketing, then printed books are brilliant. I love them.
Yeah, last year at the writers conference in LA, somebody was saying, nowadays if you're like a coach or a business person and you go to a conference, you don't bring your business cards, you bring your books and you you give them to people as business cards.
And I think anyone, if you go to an event, if you ask yourself, like if your viewers ask yourself, how many events do I go to where someone goes, hi, nice to meet you, here's my business card.
Yes.
And the question you should ask is, what do you do with that business card? Unless there's a real connection and you're going to connect with that person, those business cards get either put in your wallet or in your back pocket, and then you don't do anything with them. Whereas if you came up to me and you said, hi, I'd like to work with you, this is a free book, I'd like to give it to you, they're going to take that. They are. I spoke at the business show up at London. It was at Olympia, and it was I think it was October or November time. And I went up there specifically with a load of books to give away. So I took up 1,500 books, and I bought all of these printed books, and I got a little stall. It was 2 meters by 2 meters. And I was just going to give away the books in exchange for the name and the email address, so I could scan everybody's pass. And I thought, I was there for 2 days. If I got 1,500 books, if I get through 750 a day, then that's good. By 1 o'clock on the first day, they'd all gone. So all the books had gone. Because people like the physical aspect of it, and they've got something there that's tangible, and people will connect with you. Like on the back of my books, I use a different approach. I always put some like promotional material on the back. I do a little bit about myself, but I promote on the back of the books. And then people get in touch with you, and it sort of snowballs from there. So yeah, definitely, it's a great. I know it's an old cliche, but a book is a new business card, but it's a lot better than just a piece of card to give away.
And it doesn't have to be like Richard's book is it's so consistent, it's so thick because he has a lot to share in this book. But you can do like a smaller book. Since we are talking numbers, is there a minimum number of books every year that you want to put out on a yearly basis?
Yes. So even though I started on my own, I was working from my cellar writing. I did for a lot of time just write on my own. I've got, I employ a number of writers now. So we've got 10 staff in my publishing company. The aim is to write and publish 1 book a week.
Wow.
That's the aim. So if we've got 4 writers, then they all have to do at least 1 a month. And I think it is feasible, especially with non-fiction, to write and publish 1 book, 1 book a month per author. So if you're doing at least 3 pages a day, and they're working there full time, so they should be able to do at least 10 pages a day on their content. So the ideal scenario would be to do 1 a week. More realistically, we'll probably do at least 40 a year. But yeah, the aim is to get to 1 a week for us as a self-publishing company, I think.
But for one person, what would be a realistic goal for a person who's just starting out?
It depends on the genre. I think if you're writing fiction, I think 6 months of writing content is a good speed for fiction, because inevitably fiction is more intense on the mind, more creative. There's a lot. Generally, fiction books will be a lot longer. You're right what you said earlier on about non-fiction books. Some of mine are like 80 or 100 pages long. So I think with regards to that, if you're starting out as a new author and you were doing non-fiction, I would say definitely, you want to be finishing your book within 3 months, and then allow 4 weeks to get it published, physical print format, typesetting, because that can take a little bit of time. So I would say 3 months for non-fiction, 6 months minimum for fiction. But obviously, like I say, fiction is a lot more intense. If you're doing children's books, you've got an even bigger task on your hand, because the illustrations that you've got to get done, the backwards and forwards, project management with the illustrator. So when I was starting out, I would always write, I would try and do at least 1 book a month myself, sometimes quicker, but it depended on the length of the book.
Some people even say that, for example, especially if you're a non-fiction author, just write 3 books and then have them ready to go, and then start putting them out on Amazon and start promoting them.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I published in a physical format on Amazon. I published 3 when I started off.
Okay.
3 together, and it just felt, you don't have to do 3.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a great number. I did a series of books, like a well-known series of career books called How to Become, and they were just like based on careers, but I put 3 out. It felt better just putting 3 out. But if I was starting now, I wouldn't hesitate in putting 1 out. And a great motivator for people is come up with your idea for your book, and the first thing to do before you think about the content is come up with a name and the strap line, and get the book cover design done first of all, and then put it on pre-order. I mean, that is a real motivator to get your book out there. One of the problems now, one of the barriers, like with CreateSpace, is that you can put your book on pre-order. I think it's 3 months in advance, which doesn't give you that long. But when you get to halfway through your content, then consider putting it on pre-order, because that will really drive you to get your book finished. When I started publishing, I was using Amazon Advantage. So CreateSpace was okay, but the quality of books wasn't that great. And even now, they're okay. I'm not a massive fan, but the standard is acceptable. And we're moving a lot more over to CreateSpace, but it limits the amount of time that we have, the lead time on putting it on pre-order. But yeah, get the book cover design, print it off, put it on your kitchen cupboard, put it on your fridge door, and you can see it then, and start sharing it with people on Facebook. And then you've got to get it finished, force you to do it.
So I have one last question. I would just want you, if possible, to have a quick overlook of some of your 10 tips for writing and publishing success.
So set yourself a goal and a deadline. That's a really important one. So say to yourself, I've got an idea for a book. I'm going to get the content finished by this date. So try and think of your content as modular. So I'm going to finish this chapter by this date, then I'm going to finish the second one. That's the first tip. Put the date and the time that you're going to write in your diary weeks in advance. So you block that time out and you're going to get it done. Second thing, look after yourself, healthily, cut out booze if you can, do a bit of fitness at the very least, go walking every day, get yourself motivated. That's an important part. Look to create a really strong book cover design. Then that's important. Get yourself a great book cover designer. A little tip is that you can go onto Google. Now, there are websites like Fiverr.com and different kind of ones. I use Upwork.com for my book cover designers. And a great tip is to go to Google and search for best book cover designer Upwork. And then Google will come up with the top 10, 11 book cover designers for that particular month. Find one that searches that's within your budget, and then get them to create the book cover design first of all. Another tip, if you're writing non-fiction content, have a look at the Google Keyword Planner tool. So the Google Keyword Planner tool will tell you what people are searching for every month, and it will give you some ideas for the name and the title of your book. Start planning for the marketing side of things straight away. Okay, start planning for that straight away. So have a little think about the different kind of things that you can use to market your book, and also what you're comfortable with. Some people aren't comfortable with being on video. That's absolutely fine. Another tip is Amazon now on the author page allows you to create a promotional video. Get a 1-minute promotional video created for your book. The best way is to do it yourself. You don't have to, you can just record it on your smartphone. So just get a tripod and sit there and talk about your book. On the video, hold the book up and talk about who you are as the author, the benefits of the book, why you decided to write it, and a call to action at the end of the video to say you can get a copy of this book here on Amazon. So Amazon encourages you to create a video a promotional video for your book. And that's it really. Yeah, just be motivated, perseverance, keep going, and have somebody to help you and guide you. And yeah, have a look on YouTube for all the different things that are there to help you. And when it comes to marketing, do it over a prolonged period of time. And yeah, just go for it and never give up.
And go for this book. I keep showing it because I really loved it. So tell us a little bit about how authors can work with you.
Yeah, so they can. There's a couple of ways. The first one is that I run a series of free book writing and publishing training courses. They're based in London. So if they go to the website bookpublishingcourses.com, so that's bookpublishingcourses.com, and you can see the dates. When I usually run them one a month, free of charge to attend. So it doesn't cost it. Buy it as well. Come along. They're 3-hour intensive training courses. So that's bookpublishingcourses.com. A great way that that they can come and learn more about the process and the self-publishing. And I teach the course, so you get to meet me and tell me about your book, which would be good. And then finally, I'll do a mentoring program as well. So that website is called richardmentorme.com. So richardmentorme.com. And if you go along there, then they can find out more about my mentoring program. But I'd urge people to come along to my book writing and publishing course, bookpublishingcourses.com. It's free of charge. And yeah, I'd love to see them there.